intro?
No. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Pez of the Mind. We have our Transformers, the first movie, the Michael Bay movie from, what was it, 2007?
Correct.
2007.
From 2007. Gonna review that, because why not? There's like 6 of these. I know it's 5, but anyway.
A decade.
All right. Decade of Transformers.
Yep.
That sounds good. Anyway. So anyone want to chime in with...
I will
What we
chime in with award-winning Chriz, aka the Mole.
Oh yeah, I should introduce everyone. It's been a while since I've done this. That's why you're award-winning and I'm not.
That's true. 2 years running.
2 years running. I even won it in our awards. It was amazing.
He did. He won an award in our awards. It was impressive. It was awardception.
All right, so also joining us is Jim.
Hi.
And I'm Rick, or whatever you want to call me. Well, not whatever, but...
I like to call you the government's experimentation to bring teddy bears to life.
That's acceptable.
That's acceptable.
There you go.
Teddy Rickspin.
Hi.
Yes. As long as you're not one of those scare bears, if anyone remembers them.
I don't remember them.
I don't.
Basically, and I can't believe this is how we start off Transformers, but it's a toy related, so it counts. They did Care Bears, which were for girls, which they're like these gay little bears that have hearts on them and are like, oh, I love people, fuck off, get over here. Then they did a boy version of Scare Bear, which looks like a Care Bear, but when your parents aren't watching, you can turn it inside out and it becomes a monster bear to scare your sister, as they call it. And it looked more adorable in scare mode than it did the other way.
So where like Care Bears had like hearts and rainbows and stuff, did the Scare Bear have like a skull and like...
I can't remember exactly if it had
knife.
skulls and stuff. I remember like it had like yellow long claws and like fangs, like, but it was like an adorable one.
Like when a little kid is like, I'm wearing a scary costume, and you're like, oh, sure.
Oh, it's cute. He came to my door dressed as Hitler.
Yeah.
Not a lot of kids had the edge to do that, but god damn it, that kid did. And he's like, no, my mummy made me this M. Bison costume. I'm like, oh, she's failed.
M. Bison.
Why the mustache? Our TV has like a dead pixel on the screen. We thought that's what he was meant to have.
I'm doing his alternate costume from Street Fighter 4.
Yeah,
Third Reich pack. I don't know.
I'm gonna start this off by saying something controversial, which I know no one here will agree with, but that's fine. This film's ahead of its time. The only reason why I'm not going to say it's done in terms of story as well. It's not. That's neither here nor there. I'm going to make the case. This actually started the blueprints when I watched it. And I was like, huh. And I just thought about it. It's got the blueprints in it for all the stuff the Marvel's films then started to do, which has become the Marvel format 1 year later.
Yeah, kind of.
Post-credit scene with Starscream. You got the forced humor, the weird love interest, the weird fact everything looks the same. Like when you go to when you watch the Marvel movies, like I mentioned, Doctor Strange's powers shouldn't look like Iron Man's. Just like when you watch this, Decepticon A shouldn't look the same as Decepticon B, but fuck it. and they got the CGI, which looks actually still good today. Like when you're watching, like if you watch a film in 2007, if you watch a film 10 years ago, the CGI doesn't stand up. If you watch this 10 years later, it still fucking look good. Like I was watching, like okay, normally I praise the CGI on this. It's gonna look like ass. And I just was like, "Ooh, this looks good." It still looks good.
Something's wrong here. It still holds up.
Speaking of foreshadowing, like you mentioned with Decepticon A looking like Decepticon B and Decepticon C, Transformers also set the precedent for the DC universe to take things that are supposed to be bright and colorful and make them very, very dull and not that.
Yep. Yeah, but that's what I'm about. Like, if this film came out just after the Marvel ones, I think, ironically, the biggest criticism people would say is they stole the format.
Mm.
I
But
could see that. Yeah.
but before it, I'm like, they had all the things in place. They just didn't do enough effort in. I don't know what you'd call it, but maybe the story to make it have the oomph that launched Marvel, if that makes sense. Like, it had everything in place. They just failed to get off the. Just failed to get it going.
Yeah, I think the issue was about, I don't know, 80% too much Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah. I could go with that. Shia LaBeouf as Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah.
I would make the case he's there for a reason.
All the humans are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I still think there were too many, just in general.
I feel like in the sequels they did it. There's no excuse for it. But the first one, I feel like you need the audience surrogate to run alongside with them.
No, I agree. It's a valid role.
Like when you watch the Incredible Hulk film, there's way too much scenes of humans and all the other stuff compared to just Hulk punching stuff, which is what you want to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like you need that to get it on there. And I will be honest, his character is actually better than I remember in the first one. It's probably because I remember the sequels where his character is just non-existent.
Right.
Like this one, I'm like, oh, like when he's holding on to the fucking column statue thing, and Megatron's like, give me the Allspark.
Allspark. Yeah.
Yeah, you get to live to be. I wanted to call it the Matrix, but I was like, no, that's not what it was called. the Allspark, and I'm like,
That was ahead of their time. That was the next movie.
It was, which is weirder because the cube. It had elements of the Allspark in it to the point people are like, that's literally the Matrix from the get go, and then like, nope, this is the Matrix. Like, no,
it's a spiky football. What?
Yeah. But when it comes to the cube, like when he's holding on, and Megatron even said to him, "You can live as my pet" and stuff, and he's holding on. He's like, "No," and he almost dies to protect the cube. That's kind of fucking cool. And then you cut to the sequels, and he's literally just hanging around with comic relief characters while moaning, "My girlfriend's in a different location."
And the promise tomorrow.
Yeah.
Look at these zany stereotype robots I'm hanging out with.
Yep. I feel like, unfortunately, the sequels were going to be crapping on them too much, which I don't want to do later on.
Yeah.
But because I wanted to review these a little fairly, that's why each one, before we go to do it, I am rewatching it. And I was trying to look for the positives.
Right.
And I'll admit, bit was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And I will admit, his parents in the first one weren't terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I loved the before credit scene, or whatever you want to call it, when they talk about the government wouldn't lie to us. If this was actually an alien invasion, surely the government would have been the first to tell us so, right? And you're just like, oh my god, I love the naivety and simple-minded stuffing behind them, and I'm like, oh, I like them.
Yeah, I think in the first one, that was probably their best, because they were in small snippets where it was enough where you could see that they were quirky, but it wasn't overdone.
Yeah.
To the point, because I think some of the other ones, they were a bit much, but this one, it was like they were funny, but they weren't like, oh.
What? You're saying it's too much when they found a random reason to put them in an RV and bring them along for the adventure?
Yeah.
I can't remember which one.
Look, I have magic brownies. No, you don't need to get high. Oh my god.
Yeah, like I can't remember which one that is now. Where they're in the RV, and I'm just like, I just remember it as not liking that, but I like them in this.
I want to say the second, but I think it's the third. I don't know though. You're right.
I think it's whichever one Shia LaBeouf went to college in.
I know which. It's the same exact statement as I think that's the second one, but I want to say the second, but I think it's the third. I don't know.
Yep. Now I will say the first one I liked the plot when we're going into the plot for this, like the glasses. I think this was the one with this had the glasses, didn't it?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. I thought this did, and I was like, I watched this the other day, and I'm like. When just down with the figure, I was like, wait, am I thinking of a sequel in my head? No, they had the glasses and stuff, and I liked that. And I liked the teacher giving him a hard time, and I liked him buying his first car, and they can't use Volkswagen Beetles. So Bumblebee sort of bumps into one kind of scene, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of funny. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I think it was a Camaro he turns into. Looks fucking awesome. It looks
It's a nice,
fucking awesome.
it's a nice Camaro.
Optimus Prime with the flames looks fucking awesome. The first time he speaks, when he's like, "I am Optimus Prime," you're like, "You are, yes, you are."
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems awesome.
I didn't even watch a lot of that show back in the day, and even that even got me like, yeah, okay, that's Optimus Prime.
Yep. The worst thing that would have happened is if he'd gone to open up his mouth to speak and Rob Snyder's voice had come out, or David Spade's. Been like, "Hi, I'm like Optimus Prime." Yeah, I think that's who I am now. Optimus Prime. I'm in my prime. Do you get it? Prime. Haha. Like,
Or he stole Jazz's line, and Optimus Prime looks down, opens up, and it's just Rob Schneider going, "What's cracking, bitches?" And you're just like, "No."
Yeah. Like, the first one has so much right. That's what annoys me more about the sequels is they fucked it. Like, they didn't put any effort into the sequels.
Yeah.
But the first one, I think, has so much effort into. Like, the plot's simplistic and good. You can see what they're going for, if that makes sense, even though some of it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. Like, this is the one with Teddy in it, isn't it? Oh god, I can't believe I just referred to him as Teddy. I can't think how to word this without being bad. The fat African American guy.
Oh. Yeah, the one of the hackers, like him, right?
Yeah, I like him. He's in the series Blackish, which I'm currently watching now. Well, not right now, but I'm watching it on demand at the moment. It's fucking awesome. I remember him as Teddy from the TV sitcom for teenagers, Hang Time, when he was the coach's nephew, I think it was. Right. Hang Time, staying together. And every time I see him, even now, I'm like, it's Teddy!
Nice.
I need to learn his name and stuff.
But yeah, I'd say character-wise, this one felt the closest to the characters.
It did. And
although I will nitpick that Brawl should not have been Devastator, and that's just total Devastator fanboy, because then they had him in this anyway. Which is like, it's Devastator. I'm like, that's not what it says on your toy package. You're not Devastator. You're awesome because you're Tank, but you're not Devastator.
No.
Are you sure he's not him in the wrong packaging, which you get in some toy lines? Example, as I've mentioned somewhere, I still have a figure where it's got I think it's Triple H all over the packaging, and inside is Edge, or it's the other way round, and it's fucking hilarious.
Showed me that.
I'm just like, it's fucking hilarious.
I have I think it's I can't remember if it's either Greedo and he has a sticker for a Stormtrooper, or it's a Stormtrooper with a sticker for Greedo.
Nice. Like, I got one of the WCW figures where, ironically, ahead of their time, they made Hulk Hogan black for hilarious commentary.
They knew.
They knew. But no. Yeah, like a lot of the the effects on this is good. And I like some of the simplistic stuff behind it, like the family in the car that you're cutting to while Optimus is running down the highway. And they cut inside there, so clearly they could have done like green screen-ish effect behind it, whatever you want to say, so it's easier to plant Optimus there.
Right.
Looks fucking cool. It's simplistic, but it works, because you see all of them being like, ooh, as he goes by. And you're just like, yes, that's cool. I seem to remember this bit having way more shaky cam, and it actually does when I go back and watch it. Like, that's one complaint I've heard about this one. I seem to remember in my head as well as there was too much shake cam. I don't know if it's just because I've seen the Bourne trilogy. I'm like, no, it doesn't.
Well, I remember the part that bothered me. It wasn't so much shaky cam. Was the one I remember it the most was when Bumblebee was fighting Barricade. I think it was like in the junkyard or whatever, and it like kept happening like in the background. And I'm like, I want to see these two fight. You just see them like roll by, and you're like, no, I need to see them punching each other. It's just him running, and he's like, I'm gonna fight the guy with the buzzsaw. I'm like, I don't want to see you fight. I want to see. I can cut to the end of you just cutting him with the saw, and I'll be like, okay, good. But it wasn't so much shaky. It was just off-screen stuff, and you're like, I want to see.
Yeah, it's like the opening of that game I've mentioned to you before now, Rick. Of was it Marvel Rise of the Imperfects? Where you're like, oh, something just happened. What happened? You run around the corner, and there's like Captain America's shield destroyed or Hulk's pants, and you're like, what the fuck just happened? Why did he take his pants off and leave? What scenario are we dealing with where Hulk's like, okay, off I go? But I completely understand that too. Where you see something cool, you're like, oh, what's it? And then by the time it actually catches up, you're like, oh, I've missed it.
Yeah. Yeah, it focuses on him like for like 5 minutes, and then Bumblebee's just like, yep, beat his ass, and you're like, oh.
However, Rick, I think you'll find that Junkyard Brawl thing was literally an homage to WCW's matchup which took place in a scrapyard.
Could be.
I'm joking, but I will say I fucking love that match. I really do love that. I don't know why. It's bad, but it's kind of enjoyable at the same time. If that makes sense. Like, why would you do this? But no. But yeah, one big thing I will say, which we haven't touched upon yet, and I think I'm right in assuming Rick would hate this. Jim didn't watch the original, so he probably doesn't know better. Bumblebee was meant to have a voice.
Yeah. I figured there was a good chance he probably was supposed to. I didn't understand the whole car radio thing.
Not just did he have a voice, but I'm going to make a case, not quite as bad, but it's almost like... Did you ever see X-Men Origins Wolverine, where they showed Deadpool's mouth shut?
Oh.
The Merc with a mouth, and they showed his mouth shut. Bumblebee was famous for being the sarcastic little prick character. Like well, not, I don't want to call him a little prick, but he was like the kid of the group, and he was famous for being like,
he was the troublemaker. Yeah,
he was a loudmouth, snarky guy character thing, and they literally took away all his voice and just made him do stuff like he looks forward, like he's literally a robot that's learned to speak English by watching R2-D2. Like, no, this isn't what you do.
Like, I liked that gimmick, but not for Bumblebee. Like, I like the idea of talking through the radio, but it was weird to do it to Bumblebee. And then I think Ratchet like fixes him. He's like, "There, you should be fine." And then he like might say one line, and then just like in the other movies, he's like, "I'm back to talking through the radio," and it's like, "I thought you were fixed."
Yep. I will say, it reminds me of. Do you remember the first movie, Rick, the animated movie?
Yes.
I can't remember the character's name, but the guy who kept talking through the TV.
Oh, the junk guy that was like quoting Rekgar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might be that one where he kept showing the TV. I was like, it's kind of that, but to the wrong character, because he shouldn't have done that. But I am looking forward to the 6th film when he starts to fight one of the Decepticons and turns the radio onto Taylor Swift. Now we got bad blood. Who am I kidding? I would actually cheer that. Like, oh, Taylor Swift!
Yeah.
Well, during rainbow fighting, yeah. I would probably cheer that, but yeah. I like how they look when they transform, at least the Autobots. Like, I love Optimus Prime's look, as I've said before now. He looks fucking awesome. As a truck, he's got the cool flames and stuff. When he actually transforms and he peels it back when he's got the mouth, which some people hate, I liked it because now we can see emotion. I like that bit. But I understand the flip side of he's not meant to have a mouth. Ironically, you took the mouth from the guy who's famous for speaking and gave an extra mouth to someone who didn't have one. But I like that. Like when he stood up and he's like actually in his like robot form. I like how he looks. I love how the Autobots look. I do think they messed up with the Decepticons because, and I'm not being racist to Decepticons, but I can't tell them apart. Gotcha. I feel like how Jim described watching the NBA games.
You know what else I thought was kind of neat that they've done in some of the games, just on a side, where at least for where it feels appropriate that their weapons would like transform from their arms. It wasn't that they had a gun; it was that their arm became the gun.
Oh yeah,
nice.
I thought that was kind of cool. Like they didn't in the original, the cartoon stuff, they didn't do that. But I was like, that's actually a change that makes sense, where it feels more transformy.
Yeah, like some changes, like you said, do make sense. Like that one makes sense. Or the fact Optimus Prime's semi-trailer doesn't randomly disappear out of nowhere in the middle of the story, but just reappear later.
It just goes off screen, just like slap.
Yeah. Well, so correct me if I'm wrong, in the original line, didn't Megatron's whole self turn into a gun?
It did. And it got a lot smaller too. But he still had like big ass scope on his arm for a gun. It wasn't like his arms became gun. I mean, there are people with gun arms, but I like that in this one, just their weapons were like part of them.
Yeah.
I just remember Megatron in the scene Mole was talking about earlier, where he's like trying to kill Sam, and he like pulls off his hand, and it's like the mace. I was like, that's a cool way to put in Megatron's old mace, but also make it, you know, more legit. Where he's just like, oh, it's my hand. And I'm like, that's a cool function, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could see not being able to tell them apart.
Yeah,
well.
they all look just like this gray mechanical blobs. Like you couldn't tell the difference. It was ridiculous.
That's where I think they needed slightly more color. I mean, it's probably because I had the toys that I
Right.
I like knew who was who, but I'm not gonna pretend that it was like super easy or anything.
Mhm.
It's like, oh, that's the gray one. Oh, that's the slightly bluish gray one.
Yeah.
Like, I can tell Bumblebee, he's yellow.
Yeah.
And Prime has like red and blue, and you're like, all right, I can tell those. The rest of them,
Yeah. And that's Devastator. Wait a minute. I think we lost Ball.
oh no, probably. Otherwise, he's standing very still on my screen.
Yeah, one of the two. But yeah, like I said, I remember when I first saw this movie, I never really watched that much Transformers because that was more of an '80s thing. I'm just a little bit too young for that. I just barely was on that. I barely caught the Ninja Turtles, and that's because they were like replaying the earlier seasons in the mid '90s. So yeah, they showed that on CBS. I remember whether it was either but right before or after Pee Wee's Playhouse. It was a weird combination. I don't know, but yeah, no, this wasn't a movie. Like I said, I think the thing about Shia LaBeouf is that Shia LaBeouf is one of those actors who is always Shia LaBeouf, no matter what role he's in. It's sort of like when you cast Will Smith in a movie, he's always going to be Will Smith. It's like the same thing.
Yeah.
Shia LaBeouf is always going to be Shia LaBeouf, and sometimes that can work. It depends on the role you're giving him.
Yeah.
Like, if you've ever seen the movie Eagle Eye, that's a great movie, and Shia LaBeouf is a good fit for that movie. That movie works. That's a great movie.
Right.
Because 80% of that movie, the entire premise of that movie is people trying to kill you, run around screaming, no, 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 no. That's that entire movie, and it works.
Yeah.
But in this case, I feel like, well, he did, the story that worked around the character was very good. I feel like maybe he wasn't quite the best actor to have cast him, but the story was good. I like how they tied in the whole, it was the glass, the passing. That had a very National Treasure feel to it.
Yeah.
Like, the ancient thing from this and that is kind of cool. So that was a neat, like, they tied all that in. That was a lot of fun. And they built up Megatron, but only had him come in the very end. So that was kind of cool too. So the sense of the threat.
Yeah, I thought it was a good idea to have him like land on Earth and be frozen, because they had that theme in the original cartoon for a different one, but I thought that was kind of a cool idea of like, oh yeah, Megatron, he's a big scary guy. Oh, he's here. Oh, he's frozen. Okay, well, as long as they keep him thawed. Oh, we put the magic thing next to him. Like, why did you?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the other one. So there's a different one that was frozen.
In the original cartoon, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But
and
there
there
was
wasn't
actually a guy that was frozen.
Yeah, and then wasn't like because I feel like didn't they reveal at some point at Beast Wars that the whole arc was like frozen on Earth somewhere or something?
Yeah, because the original cartoon, they're fighting and they land on Earth, and then it's like 4 billion years later, and you're like, what? And so like Beast Wars takes place in that time frame, so they're like, oh yeah, it's
okay.
Oh wait, this is Earth. Oh wait, so that should be here, and they go and find it, and they're like, oh shit. And then Megatron's just like, oh, guess what? And he shoots Prime, and it's like, no, I just screwed up time, and they're like, oh well, we gotta fix this.
Oh, well, Optimal Optimus, here we go. Oh dear, the Hangout is not letting Mole back in, apparently.
Oh no.
That's a slight problem.
Did he start it, or did...
No, he started it.
Is that why it won't let him back in? I don't know.
I don't know. That is weird. I do not understand.
But yeah, what you were saying, you know, like Shia LaBeouf might not be the best, and I think that some of him was fine. I kind of felt like they showed too much of the soldiers.
They did do a lot with the soldiers, yeah. That felt, I don't know.
I kind of get it. I'm fine with some human element, but it just felt like, you know, it's like, oh, we're gonna follow two sets of humans, and I was like, man, I feel like a lot of the stuff with the soldiers could have been slightly more generic, like not make them actual characters, and it still would have been fine.
Yeah. Well, no, what they could have done, is they could have actually tied something else in that would have made things make a lot more sense and actually worked out for crossover purposes. What they should have done is, if they're going to focus so much on the soldiers, they should have had the group of soldiers and planted hints that the soldiers were the G.I. Joes that spin that movie off, because it's not like they haven't crossed over before. It's kind of a well-known thing.
You know, I would have thought that was pretty cool if they had done that. That would have been pretty neat.
No, all though. Just have one of them get referred to by a name or something. You know, just kind of hint it, and they got to spin it off from there.
Yeah, like two of the dudes that survived were like, it's like, all right, Duke. He's like, okay, let's go.
Yeah,
like, what?
Exactly.
Did you say Duke?
Like Duke and Roadblock. Wait a minute. You know,
that would have been amazing.
Yeah, that would have worked. That would have been fun. Exactly, a little teaser, but like good. Yeah, a lot of the soldiers. However, that's not to say that all the side characters had issue, because I think for at least this first movie, I think John Turturro was perfect. I think for every sequel, he became a caricature of himself.
Yeah. Yay, he's back.
He's back, yay!
Yep, I did send Jim a message explaining.
I got your message.
I didn't get a reply. So I was like, oh, okay, he wasn't letting me in.
Yeah, we did get your message. We did address it. I did tell Rick. Sorry.
That's fine. But yeah, we're back.
I'm back. You're back.
You guys technically
back
didn't leave
again. Mole's back. Tell a friend.
Yep.
So yeah, we're just talking about some of the side characters. Let's talk about how in this movie I like John Turturro's character, and I thought it was good, but I felt the issue was that in all the sequels his character became a caricature of what it was in the first movie.
Pretty much.
Yeah. He also kind of like the parents, where it was like they seemed like they forced him into the other ones.
Exactly.
Like, oh, people liked him. Put him in the sequel. Like, okay, fair enough. How are you gonna do that? I don't know, just make shit up. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, he worked in the first one, but yeah, in the sequels he was definitely forced in there.
Yeah. Which kind of sucks, because it feels like you take him out and it makes more sense, but you also almost feel like you're punishing the actor for doing a decent job.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Nah. Yeah, again, not knowing much about Transformers, when I first saw this movie and they showed Optimus Prime as the flaming truck, I'm like, okay, that's really cool looking, but that's not what I was expecting for Optimus Prime. Because I'm like, okay, I'm expecting, like, I'm not saying it's not going to look like the '80s, but I would expect that he would, maybe that he would, at least, maybe have, okay, it's going to be, even if it's going to be okay, a red cab, might look at least, but like, I like the blue flames, but it didn't quite, it took a while to sell me on that. Then he transformed, and his Peter Culler's like, I'm Optimus Prime. I'm like, okay, we're good, okay.
We're good here. Yeah, I remember them explaining early on that it was like what we consider more normal now with the extended nose cap, because they're like, well, we need more stuff, so he's bigger, and I'm like, oh, okay. It was just like, that's fine for me. That's fine. Yeah.
I will say everyone's broken up as fuck.
Oh.
Oh dear. Am I broken up to you, John?
No.
Okay. Weird.
Maybe we're all woken up.
Oh, I see what you did there. Anyway. What was good? Something else I was going to say now. I forgot what it was. Brain fart is not working. Yeah, I remember when this movie first came out. That's speaking of the thing with the voice stuff. I remember when they started showing trailers, or people were like, "Oh, this is a terrible idea. This isn't going to work. This is like garbage." And I remember how drastic of a flip it was, because everybody was like, "I don't know. I don't think this is going to work. I don't think it's going to happen. This looks, they don't look at Transformers. He's going to put together things. That's the actor Shia LaBeouf. And then look, like they did all thing, they had a trailer, everything else, and then they just put out one announcement. It's just like Peter Cullen to returns Optimus Prime, and everybody was on board.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll say for Megatron on a similar note, where it was like, oh, we're gonna get Hugo Weaving, and it's like, was Frank Welker busy? And it's like, no, he does some other voice. I'm like, what? And I think Hugo did a good job as Megatron. Like, I liked the way he sounded.
No, definitely.
It didn't feel like there was enough lines that it felt like it was like, oh, we're gonna get Hugo Weaving to do this voice. And like, he has like 6 lines or something, and you're like, you went all out for that. Okay, like, I mean, it was a good voice, but it felt weird that they touted it so much for how little it was there.
Yeah, and by the time, because I think Hugo Weaving came back for 2, but then for like 3 and 4, Welker was doing it anyway.
Yeah. Well, I think also from earlier that's one of the reasons that Decepticons felt similar to each other was they all just spoke Cybertronian or whatever it was. Where if they had voices and talked, they might have felt more unique.
Yeah, but then I would have been concerned because at that point, who do you get for Starscream?
Yeah. From the games they have, I think Steve Bloom does it, and I actually think he does a pretty good Starscream. Okay. Sorry, not the cartoon. He did him for Transformers Prime, the show. And like at first I was like, I don't know, like I like Steve Bloom, but I don't. And then he did the voice, and I was like, he sounds really good as Starscream. Is that like snivelly? He did it in a way that I was like, that could actually work. So I'll go.
It could. Fair enough.
But yeah, it feels like at least Starscream, should have had something.
Yeah.
I think in one of the sequels, I think he had a line. But
yeah. Because I just remember that whole thing going down, and I looked it up later. And I'm like, I'm like, so who's Hugo Weaving? Okay, and it was like a long time afterward. Like, I was about to the movie came out that I finally checked it. Wait, who was the original Megatron? Like, so welcome. I'm like, why did you use him?
Yeah,
because it's not like he's like, oh, Frank Welker is busy. Frank Welker is always busy. He's in every movie. He's in your. Even if you hadn't announced it, he's probably already in your movie. He's in every. He's literally the highest paid actor. The highest. He's made the most money of any actor ever in history.
Yeah.
Just for showing up and doing like animal voices and shit.
Well, it's funny because he does, I think, Soundwave's voice in the second one. Because he did original Soundwave, but they put the synthesizer on it, so it sounded different. And then in the second one, as far as I understand it, it's him doing the voice without the synthesizer. And I'm like, so you got the second one at least. They're like, nah, it's fine.
I feel like there needs to be a modern. I don't know if they've done it yet, but I feel like there needs to be a modern toy of Soundwave, and he needs to convert it to an MP3 player, like an iPod or something.
They have an it's not necessarily an MP3 player, but they have one that looks like the original, but it actually you can put in it's like mini SD memory, not the normal SD and not micro, the one in between that nothing uses. Like it puts in that, and it actually does play MP3s, and like, and I'm like, of course I have that because Soundwave. But yeah, they did make one, just nobody. I don't think anyone got it. They also had a Prime that you could put an iPod in, like his trailer flipped over and you could put it in and it had speakers.
Nice.
Like, that's cool.
That's cool. That's cool.
And I'm back.
You're back.
Yay.
Woo. All right. So I guess final thoughts, unless there's anything else you want to talk about.
No, we can go straight to final thoughts. And yeah, like I said, I liked the look of near everyone but the Decepticons.
Mm-hmm.
I did agree with you guys, like when you said the side character was good, but in the sequels he was forced. I was like, yeah, exactly what we said about the parents. They did that way too much in the sequels. I'm like, no. More on that later, I suppose, like next month or something. But
yep.
So, like I said, it's got all the blueprints in it for what a lot of modern films now use. It still holds up. It's got a pretty fun story, pretty fun characters. I like this film. I'm definitely still comfortable giving it a thumbs up. I like this film. It's worth checking out. And I can see what they went for, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can agree. I mean, I'd certainly throw it an 80 to 85. It's an enjoyable film, and it's a decent representation of the Transformers for what it needed to be for a modern audience. I mean, it's not perfect, no, but it's a really good movie, and it's certainly worth checking out if you're going to check out any of the movies in this franchise. Definitely this one.
Yeah, I'll agree. I think it was pretty good when I saw it. Definitely some nitpicky things, but it, you know, in trying to adapt it to an audience, I think it's not too crazy in this one where it's like, okay, things still feel legit enough. To me, though, what I thought was the best aspect of this movie wasn't the movie itself, was that it was popular, and that kind of brought Transformers back as a property that they could do stuff with and make money. So we actually got, you know, more toys than we did. We got video games of it. It like brought it back as a thing to the point where Hasbro's just like, oh, we can make money off this. It's like, yeah, you can. And they're like, okay, we'll release stuff. And so it wasn't the movie, but more the effect the movie had was why even if I hated the movie, I'd be okay with it because I got other stuff from it. Where the first movie, I still thought was pretty good, but the other stuff it did was even better.
Yeah.
That.
Oh yeah, that's what we said in the past on here. I love all the stuff that came out because of this.
Yeah.
Like the War of Cybertron game and stuff like that. And the other one, I can't remember what both of them were called. One was War of Cybertron. Fall. Thank you. Thank you.
I will admit, I sometimes forget which one is the first one.
Yeah.
It's like, I remember the name. Was War first? I
like both of those. I even liked Rise of the Darkspark. I even liked the games based on the movies where you could use the skin to like suddenly make Megatron G1 and stuff like that. It was fun.
That was awesome, except the level you had to use Megatron on was really hard with the G1 skin, I found. But it was totally awesome to use it because when he would fly and this one's for Jim, but he would turn into the gun and it would just float and it was just freaking fun.
Okay. Why not?
Can gun. I'm like, sure, why not?
Go for it.
I also loved that he put his arm up when he flew and it was
he like had his arm.
Yeah, we have
wonderful.
Yeah, we have one of those. I think it's Rise. We have at the library, and we also have Devastation, which seems very popular.
Devastation's awesome, but yeah, yeah, we probably would not have had those without this movie.
Yep.
And Rick got a giant deluxe Soundwave out of it, if I recall correctly.
At least to me, I'm curious what the next game's going to be, Rick. Because we should have had one announced by now.
Probably.
I feel because they said Devastation with what they were doing. It was at the same time the comics and all the other stuff were running. The Combi Wars, or whatever they were called.
Yeah, Combiner Wars.
And I'm like, and I'm like, that's cool, and that matched. And now we've had like another event or two since, and we haven't had a game based. But they said each event was going to get a game, so it brings the whole series together. And I'm like, did this not sell as well as they hoped?
Probably not.
Yeah. You know what? They should do another one of. I don't even remember which one it was, but I remember we did that thing where we group play the demo of that one where it was like you were playing as Transformers and you could transform back and forth at will, and it was like an arena fighting game.
That's the one you're on about that we tried the demo of. Is one of the ones we were talking about. I think it was War of Cybertron or Fall of, whichever was the second one.
Yeah, that was fun.
Where because that was the multiplayer part, which came from one of the games based on the movies, because they had a very similar one I loved where you could be like, oh, I'm a Decepticon now, I can disguise myself and stand next to the Autobots and they don't know it's me. I love that mode. I love that. But yeah, that where they had the online bit, I love that. I love those games. I want to get a new Transformers game. I just feel, unfortunately, with the series, I don't mean anything bad by it, but each game they do, I feel like Fall and War have perfected it to the point that any game since isn't going to be them, and that's what it's going to get ripped apart by.
True.
I do like the look of that. What the hell's it called? Labo, or whatever it's called from Nintendo. Where on the video he's got the box and it goes and transforms to a truck and goes along. But that doesn't count. But still. And Richter loves the shit out of his Angry Birds Transformers.
There's only one of those I wanted. There's one Soundwave one and a Soundwave Pig, but I think he came in a set and I never saw it.
I saw the game, I was like, that's cool, it's not just Angry Birds. Can't wait for that to come to consoles like the Star Wars and all the other ones did.
Right.
Never comes. I'm like, fuck you, you had one job, and that's to charge me more money for it later on the device I want it on. But
all right, so any other thoughts, or should I take us out?
You can take us out.
Good.
All right, so thank you everyone for joining us for our review of Transformers 1 from 2007. If you have anything else to say, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section. Thank you very much for watching, and good night.